The choice we make. Lena had never been the type to make impulsive decisions. She had always been practical, careful, and cautious. Everything in her life was meticulously planned, down to the smallest detail. She never strayed from the path she had set for herself. But then she met Noah, and all of that changed. Noah was a free spirit, someone who lived for the moment and had no interest in commitments or long-term plans. He had a way of making everything seem so effortless, so carefree. To him, life was about the now, and it was contagious. He was everything Lena wasn't, and yet there was an undeniable chemistry between them. The way he made her laugh, the way he made her feel like anything was possible. At first, Lena told herself it was just a fling, a distraction. He was fun, spontaneous, everything she had never allowed herself to be. She had no intentions of falling for him. But the more time they spent together, the harder it became to ignore the pull she felt toward him. It was as if he was unraveling her, piece by piece. Noah had a way of making her forget about everything, about her responsibilities, her career, the life she had carefully constructed. Every moment with him felt like a new adventure, like she was capable of things she had never dreamed of. The walls she had built around her heart began to crumble, brick by brick. But there was one problem. Noah wasn't looking for anything serious. He had made it clear from the start. He enjoyed their time together, but he wasn't ready to settle down. And deep down, Lena knew that she couldn't just casually fall for him without eventually getting hurt. It wasn't in her nature to live in the moment the way Noah did. One evening, after a particularly long day at work, they sat on a park bench, watching the sun set over the city. The air was cool, the sky painted with shades of orange and purple. It was one of those moments where everything felt perfect, and yet Lena felt the weight of the decision she had to make. Lena turned to him, her heart beating faster in her chest. "Noah, we need to talk." He looked at her, his expression unreadable. "What about?" "About us," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Noah's gaze softened, but he didn't look surprised. "I knew this was coming." Lena swallowed hard, her throat tight. She had known it too, but she hadn't been ready to face it until now. "I can't do this anymore. I can't keep pretending that this doesn't mean something to me." Noah's eyes darkened slightly, and for the first time, Lena saw a flicker of something she couldn't place. Regret, maybe, or sorrow. But it was gone in an instant. "Lena, I told you from the beginning that I'm not ready for anything serious." "I know," she replied softly, her voice breaking. "But I thought maybe I could change that. Maybe I could make you want to stay." He shook his head slowly, his face etched with the kind of sadness she hadn't seen in him before. "I can't promise you that, Lena. I can't give you a future when I'm not even sure what tomorrow looks like." Tears welled in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She had promised herself that she wouldn't cry over this. She wouldn't beg for something that wasn't meant to be. "I don't need forever, Noah. I just need now." For a long moment, there was silence between them. The world seemed to stand still as they sat there. The soft rustling of leaves in the wind, the only sound. Lena's heart was pounding in her chest. She had always been so careful with her emotions. But Noah had shattered that, and now she was left with a choice she wasn't sure she was ready to make. Then, without warning, he reached for her hand, pulling her close. The gesture was simple, yet it held so much weight. He kissed her gently, a kiss that spoke of everything they had been and everything they would never be. It was tender, soft, but final. It was the kind of kiss that told her that their time had run its course. And in that moment, Lena knew it was time to let go. She couldn't keep holding on to something that wasn't real, no matter how much she wished it were. She had loved Noah in her own way, but love wasn't enough to change the truth of who they were. When the kiss broke, they didn't speak. There was nothing left to say. It wasn't about blame or regret. It was about the acceptance that sometimes love isn't enough to make a relationship work. Sometimes the hardest thing is knowing when to walk away. As she stood up, Noah followed her, his hand brushing against hers one last time. They walked together in silence, the city around them buzzing with life. But all Lena could think about was the choice she had just made. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. For the first time in a long time, she felt a strange sense of peace. She had chosen herself. She had chosen her future, even if it meant walking away from something that had felt so right for a time. As they reached the end of the park, Lena turned to him one last time. "Take care of yourself, Noah." He nodded, his eyes lingering on her for a moment longer, but he didn't say anything. It wasn't the farewell she had imagined, but it was the one they both needed. And with that, they went their separate ways, each carrying the weight of their decisions, but also the knowledge that they had made the right choice. Sometimes love wasn't enough, but the choice to let go was what would allow them both to grow into the people they were meant to be. Lena walked away from the park, the sun setting behind her, but for the first time she didn't feel empty. She felt a sense of closure, a sense of freedom. No longer bound by the impossible dreams she had tried to make real, Lena was ready for the next chapter of her life. She knew it wouldn't be easy. She knew there would be times when she would miss him, when she would wonder what might have been. But she also knew that in letting go, she had made the hardest, yet most necessary choice of all. A choice that would shape her future in ways she couldn't yet understand. And that was enough.